A few thoughts based on the readings. Some of you heard at the very beginning a piece of music based on the psalm that we have just read. So I'd like to play it again with some other slides. This is Elizabeth's piece of music. It recites the actual words of the psalm. I wonder if you'd listen, think about the words, try and think what's going on, and we'll make it our starting point for the words I'll share in a moment or two. So hope this will work. Here we go.
His delight is not in the strength of the horse, nor his pleasure in the speed of the run, but the Lord takes pleasure in those who fear him, in those who hope is in his steadfast love. His delight is not in the strength of the horse, nor his pleasure in the speed of a run, but the Lord takes pleasure in those who fear him, in those who hope is in his steadfast love.
Very good. Well, thank you, Elizabeth, for setting those words to music. I think they help us a great deal. I've been hearing Elizabeth sing these words for quite some time, sometimes on Sunday morning. So it's been a little while that I know she's written some music for those words, but perhaps the first time that we've heard them together in this kind of way. Psalm 147 and verses 10 and 11, his delight, the Lord's delight, is not in the strength of the horse, nor his pleasure in the speed of a runner, or in the speed of the legs of a man, or the legs perhaps of a warrior. But the Lord takes pleasure in those who fear him, in those who hope in his steadfast love. His delight is not in the strength of the horse. So does this mean that God does not like horses? Is that what's going on? You know, you see these words, they might be a bit unusual. His delight is not in the strength of the horse. Does it mean that God doesn't like horses? Is that what's going on? Well, surely not. Indeed, much of Psalm 147, and let me encourage you to read it a few times perhaps before the day is done, but much of Psalm 147 rehearses God's creation of and delight in the world. The psalm extols the God who created the world and sustains it, and it exults in the natural world that God has made. God, who numbered the stars, covers the heavens with clouds, according to the psalm. God prepares rain for the earth and makes grass to grow on the hills. He gives to the animals their food and to the young ravens when they cry. God surely loves the creation that God has made. The problem surely is not with horses per se. No, surely not. I'm sure we can say, surely with some confidence, that God delights in horses, as God delights in all that God has made. The point is, I think, that in the ancient world, horses were admired for their military capabilities. Look at the psalm. The Lord does not delight in the strength of a horse. It's the strength of the horse particularly that's characterized there. Nor does God take pleasure in the legs of a warrior or in the speed of a runner, whether human or animal, both involved in the infantry and the cavalry. God not much impressed by war horses and by human military power. God is not so impressed by the military power and prowess garnered and harnessed by humankind. Hear the words of Psalm 33, verses 17 to 18, that overlap with those of our text. The war horse, says the psalmist, the war horse is a vain hope for victory, and by its great might it cannot save. Truly the eye of the Lord is on those who fear him, on those who hope in his steadfast love. Fear and hope are what are elevated as human responses. Fear and hope. Fear is a little difficult, as we all know. Fear, what's meant? Well, surely here a positive reverence for God that issues in obeying the ways of the Lord. The respect and reverence for God, the fear of the Lord. Those who fear him, those who revere him, who follow his ways, God delights in them. And on those who hope. It might be the weak and the meek and the miserable and the isolated and the not so sure of themselves, who nevertheless wait or hope or trust in the Lord and in the Lord's steadfast love or loyal love, his commitment to them. So here as well the warning of the prophet Isaiah when it comes to horses. He says, alas for those who go down to Egypt for help and who rely on horses, who trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but do not look to the Holy One or consult the Lord. The Egyptians are human and not God. Their horses are flesh and not spirit. When the Lord stretches out his hand, the helper will stumble, and the one helped will fall, and they will all perish together. For all its strength and power, the horse cannot save. Or as the writer of Psalm 20 puts it, some take pride in chariots and some in horses, but our pride is in the name of the Lord our God. The fact is, horses and humans with all their technologies are puny and seemingly insignificant before Almighty God. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them, says the writer of Psalm 8. Now, of course, the recognition of our smallness, our puniness, in relation to the vastness of the universe and the almightiness of God can have consequences unintended by the psalmist and by the biblical writers in general. We might begin to think that we are too small, that we are so insignificant to attract the interest and care of God. But the Bible in general, and our psalm in particular, asserts the complete opposite. The Lord builds up Jerusalem, tiny little Jerusalem, in the midst of all the great and mighty powers. Who builds it up? Its horses and its chariots, its armies and its military power and prowess? No, no, no. The Lord, the one who is great and mighty and beyond even all the stars, cares for little tiny Jerusalem. The Lord builds up Jerusalem. He gathers the outcasts of Israel. He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. The Lord lifts up the lowly and casts the wicked to the ground. The Lord takes pleasure in those who revere him, in those who hope in his loyal love. What wonderful hope-filled words these are for people who might feel threatened by a pandemic or diminished by isolation and lockdown. Now, it's true, the vaccination program is extremely important. Don't know about you, but I have little sympathy for anti-vaxxers and those who are telling us not to get a vaccination. No, the vaccination program for us in our lockdown and for all threatened by pandemic, a great, great program being rolled out in such a way that we might give thanks for it. What a great thing. The vaccination program is extremely important. When you get your chance to have a vaccination, you will have it, won't you? Many of you already have. I have this funny feeling I'm going to be bringing up the rear on this matter, but many of you have had it already, and some of you, like me, waiting for it. The vaccination program, a great, great program. However, no vaccination or vaccination program can heal the injustices or troubles and cares of our world. We can and should be pleased by medical and immunological breakthroughs. They will help to make the world a better place, but only if those who benefit by them act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly. Human technologies like military power bring help to our world, can do. But they do not have the power to save and restore humanity to the ways of the Lord. They do not have the power to heal a sin-sick soul. God is healer of the brokenhearted. Yes, God is healer of the brokenhearted, the one who binds their wounds. He numbered the stars, and he knows where they are. He created you and me, and he knows where we are. He knows all about us. He heals the broken hearts of all who face calamity and distress, and he tends to their wounds. Have you not known? Asks the prophet, because the fact is we forget it. And sometimes, of course, we sit or stand between healing and help. And it's difficult to wait on the Lord when healing seems not at first to come. But have you not heard? Have you not known? Would you not call to mind and remember? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint and strengthens the powerless. Even youths will faint and be weary, and the young will fall exhausted. But those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Well, the God who made and sustains the world cares for its plants, its animals, and its people. God cares so much that in Jesus Christ, he entered this world to heal and redeem it. God comes to us now as we wait on him. God comes to us now as we break bread and drink wine. God comes to us now in bread and wine and says, will you honor the Lord? You, each one, will you honor the Lord? Revere the Lord? And put your hope in his loyalty and steadfast love? Will you, in receiving the bread and the wine, wait on God and find in him the strength and hope and power, sustenance that you need? Well, we're going to break bread in a moment or two.